Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurudeva Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahem Tejasvidhavadhitamastama Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha.
Atha Tritiyodhyayah.
Atha Tritiyodyayah.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha.
Shloka number 40. Indriyani mano buddhihi
Indriyani mano buddhihi.
asyadhisthana muchyate
Asyadhisthanamuchyate.
eter vimohayatyeshaha
Vedhe vimohayatyeshaha.
jnanamavritya dehinam
Jnanamavritya dehinam.
tasmat tvamindriyani yadau
Tasmat vamindriyanyadau.
niyamya bharatarshabha
Yamya Bharadharshava
papmanam prajahihenam
Papmanam Prajahihyenam
Jnana Vijnana Nashanam
Jnana Vijnana Nashanam
Indriyani Paranyahu
Indriyani Paranyahu
Indriyebhyah Param Manaha
Indriyebhyah Param Manaha
Manasastu Para Buddhihi
Manasastu Para Buddhihi
Yo Buddheh Paratastu Saha.
Yo Buddhif Paratastu Saha.
Kama covers the viveka of the person. So therefore, the kama is to be handled. To handle kama, one should know where it is located. Adhishtanam. So Indriyani Manobuddhihi. Seated there, it covers the jnanam of the person. Therefore, Indriyani Adau Niyamya, having controlled, mastered the Indriyani in the beginning, may you kill this kama, who is the destroyer of jnanam and vijnanam. Then in the next shloka, 42nd shloka, which we are seeing, there is a comparison. Which is better than, which is superior, not better, which is superior than what? Compared to Indriyani, compared to Shariram, Indriyani, sense organs are superior. Because of Indriyani only, the Shariram, the body, perceives the person, the Jiva, who has his body, he perceives the Vishaya. Without Indriya, Vishaya perception, and what this body can do. So, Indriyas have to be functional. Eyes are there but cannot see. What is use of those eyes? Just golakam, that mere gross physical organ. Indriyani has to be there. Then only it can function. Eyes are there but doesn't have the power of seeing, power of sight. Ears are there, doesn't have the power of hearing. The power of hearing, that is Indriya. Not the physical that gross ear or eyes, they are not Indriya. They are the aperture. They are the Golaka. Sanskritam it is called Golaka, gross organ. So the gross organ are called eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. And the subtle organ is also called by the same name. That is why sometimes we get confused. The subtle organ, Indriyani. Indriyani is also called eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. But it is not the physical, it is the power of sight, power of hearing, power of touch, power of taste, power of smell, without which mere the gross organs cannot perceive the sense objects. Therefore, Indriyani greater. Compared to Indriya, Manaha, Mana mind is greater. Without backed up by mind, supported by mind, Indriyanis cannot function. So mind has to be there. And compared to the mind, Buddhi is greater because Buddhi is Nishayatmika, determining faculty. Whereas mind is Chanchalatmika. Mind is Mind is always thinks about this and that, pros and cons, but that cannot come to a conclusion, cannot ascertain what a thing is, cannot take any decision. Only mind takes. Therefore, mind is greater. But compared to the mind, also, what is greater is Saha, one pronoun. What is a Saha? Saha is Atma. It is Atma which illumines all, because of which everything is what it is. Buddhi is Buddhi because of Atma. Manaha is Manaha because of Atma. Indriya, the Indriyas, they are because of Atma. Therefore, Atma, Saha, Atma, Parataha. Buddhehe Parataha tu Saha iti. That shloka we are reading. Now, from here we have to read. Discover the distance between yourself and your desires. Yourself, Atma, between you. So, previous reading was Atma. No, okay, from here we'll read. Discover the distance between yourself and your desires. Between you and the desires. Krishna was not asking to suppress or repress your desires. He said to attempt to control likes and dislikes doesn't serve any useful purpose because the mind has its own ways, but you need not be swayed by them. In this way, your likes and dislikes will be no problem to you. Since your desires are located in the senses, mind, and intellect, you can have complete mastery over them by discovering a distance between yourself and your likes and dislikes. You cannot stay in the mind itself and have mastery over it. The more you go inside, the more reasons you find for why you are the way you are. This exploration may provide you with certain understanding, but it cannot remove the reason, which is a problem psychology is faced with. Some understanding, some validation, and so on is useful, no doubt. But if you're always stuck with the same problem, what is the use of this kind of understanding? How can you deal with the problem? How can you master such a mind? So, psychology cannot remove the reason, cannot remove the basic reason, basic problem. Psychology has no solution. Vedanta has no problem. So, it can remove the problem temporarily. That is why it is comes back and it's a person again and again. Therefore, to address this concern, Krishna said here, you have to go one step further. You must be yourself so that you can manage your mind. You are not the mind, your mind is a tool, you can manage the mind. So, therefore, looking upon the mind, the thoughts of the mind objectively, one can manage it. That is the creating distance. That's what creating distance between you and the mind, your mind. In this way, you will be able to take care of all your raga dveshas, all your karmas. You can take care of your raga dveshas or kamas, not karma, kamas, only when you are able to step outside of the kamas. If you want to weigh something, for example, you cannot be inside of that which you are weighing. If I recall correctly, Newton was supposed to have said, if only I could be somewhere a little away from the earth, then I would be able to weigh the earth. Similarly, how can you fix up your mind when you are in the midst of its mess? If you manage to solve one problem, another will pop up in its place. If you discover, for example, that all your problems are due to your mother, what do you have then? You have the problem of having had this mother. Then you will ask, why did I have this mother? Why didn't I have a better mother? Why did my mother behave like this? Nothing comes of this, in that. You are left with the same problem. In spite of the benefit of some validation, some understanding, the problem itself doesn't really go away. This is what keeps people going to therapist. And once they begin to go, the going itself becomes yet another addiction. It becomes something that must be done. Thus, although some help may come from the therapy, another problem has definitely been created. Ultimately, in order to deal with the problem, you have to step out of it. It is not to discount the usefulness of therapy as such. All that is being said is that you cannot really deal with psychological problems within samsara unless you step out of it. And how do you step out of samsara? Arjuna already had one foot out, it seemed. By planning to go to Rishikesh as a sannyasi, he thought he would be stepping out of samsara. But this is stepping in, not out. Stepping out doesn't imply any external change. All that is implied is a situational change in terms of one's understanding, wherein the distance between one's desires, one's likes and dislikes is discovered. Only then the mind can be mastered. The order involved in mastering the mind. Whatever we master is always mastered from another standpoint, which implies a particular order. Krishna was addressing this order here when he told Arjuna that those who know say that the senses are superior. So say the wise, Indriyani, Parani, Aguhu, Panditaha. The superior, of course, implies some comparison. And that's the question. Superior to what? Indriyani, Parani. Indriyas are greater. Agugu. Ke Agugu, Panditaha. They say. Who says Panditaha? Informed people, they say. Compared to what? Compared to the body. It's not given, we have to understand. So the physical body is a response. The senses, Indriyani, are superior to the physical body, which is a part of an individual, jiva. They are superior because they have the capacity to objectify the body. The eyes and other senses can objectify the body. Yes. The body and all are available for objectification for the senses. But senses cannot be objectified. How will you objectify the sense organs? Sense organs can objectify the body. The sense organs can objectify the physical sense organs. If not, indirectly, eyes can see the eyes through the mirror, can see your eyes, your face, the nose, tongue, etc. You can see the body. The first sense organs can objectify the body, can objectify the sense, can physical senses, gross sense organs. But what can objectify these sense organs? Sense organs cannot objectify itself. Sense organs can only objectify external gross objects, internal subtle things also it can objectify. That comes in Panchadashi. The taste, taste or when you drink water, the water entering the throat pipe going down, it is sensed, touch. Even the feeling of hunger or thirst, it's sensed. Sakshi Pratyaksha, we call it. So it is, even though sense organs can sense external objects and internal, it has internal scope, a scope internally also within the body. Within the body, whatever the perception is, that is also sense organs can sense. But still, sense organs cannot be objectified by anything else. Because if it is objectified, then there must be something which objectifies. So it will be infinite regression. That's not possible. So sense organs cannot be objectified. Nothing can. Mind cannot objectify. Mind can illumine the sense organs. So what sense organs are? Sense organs operate in the presence of the mind. Mind cannot make the sense organs an object of perception. In fact, mind can only mind perceives sense objects through the sense organs. So how does therefore the mind itself, the thoughts of the mind are known to the mind. What the sense organs bring in, that also are available for the mind to know. They can objectify. Objectify is through the mind alone. So the mind alone is objectified. But the sense organs, even the sense organs, mind cannot objectify. Sense organs are functional in the presence of the mind. So for the sense organs to function, the mind has to be there. So this is another point. So therefore, the sense organs can only objectify other things. It itself cannot be objectified. Fine. Therefore, here sense organs objectify the body. Therefore, it must be superior to the body. Superior means it body is physical, gross, including as gross sense organs. They are physical. They are gross. So, sense organ perceives the body. The perception of body is through the sense organ. Then the sense organs must be subtle. Body is gross. That which perceives the body must be subtle. So therefore, it is superior. Another reason that the sense organs are said to be superior to the body is because they are subtle in nature. Being subtle, the senses have pervasiveness, vyapakatva. The more the subtle, the more the pervasiveness, vyapakatva, pervasive. Pervasiveness. Body is physical, gross. There's a location. It is located in a place. What about sense organs? Even though sense organs also are located, but it can go all over. Like, for example, the body remains on the ground, whereas the eyes can go to the stars. To do anything at all, the body has to move. Whereas the sense of sight, by simply opening the eyes, that's already gone to the stars. So maybe with regard to all the sense organs, the eyes and the other senses are more pervasive than the physical body. So pervasiveness, that is subtlety. Sense organs are more subtle than the physical body. Therefore, physical body is objectifiable by the sense organs. That is the superiority of the senses. The superiority of senses is further established by the fact that it is inside the physical body in the form of Sukshma Sharira. Sukshma Sharira. What is Sukshma Shariram? Sukshma Shariram is that which consists of 17 components is called Sukshma Shariram. Pancha Jnanendriyani, Pancha Karmendriyani, Pancha Pranadayaha, Manascha Ekam, Buddhischa Eka. 17 components constitute the Sukshma Shariram. So, therefore, sense organs, they form part of the Sukshma Sharira. Sukshma, subtle. Body, physical body, gross, Stula Shariram. Therefore, compared to the Stula Shariram, sense organs are subtle. Then the verse goes on to say that the mind is superior to the sense organs. Indriyebhyaha param manaha. Because the mind can go where the senses cannot. For example, the mind alone can go to heaven. It can also suffer an imagined hell, which is something that senses cannot do. So also the mind is the one in whose hands the senses are. Without the mind, there is no sense perception at all. Yes. Without the mind, how can the senses be senses? Sense organs be sense organs. Therefore, thus, mind is definitely superior to the senses. Because the sense organs function in the presence of the mind, and also mind is more subtle than the sense organs. Sense organs themselves are subtle. Since compared to sense organs, mind is subtle, more pervasiveness, vyapakatva. Therefore, it is superior. It has access to regions where the senses have no scope, where the mind cannot travel. It can travel all over. So therefore, the mind's accessibility and the dependence of the sense organs on the mind definitely makes the mind superior, according to those who know. According to those who know. Then, even though, another point here, I told the sense organs cannot be objectified, but sense organs objectify sense organs. I mean, gross physical organs. Sense organs objectify gross physical, eyes, gross body, gross physical objects, external world. The body also external. External in the sense it is external to oneself. It's available for objectification, therefore external. Similarly, the sense organs can, as I said, it can objectify the perceptions inside the body, internal perception. So external perception and internal perception, both the perceptions are available for the sense organs. And I said sense organs cannot be objectified by anything. Sense organs cannot be objectified by sense organs. But the presence of sense organs, the function of the sense organs are inferred by the mind. That is why without mind, the sense organs cannot function. The sense organs function, how do we know? Because the mind is there. Mind itself cannot objectify the sense organs. What color, what shape, what it is, it cannot objectify because it is subtle, more pervasive. Sense organs are more pervasive, and the mind, because of the mind, we know the sense organs are functional. Without the mind, we cannot know the sense organs function. So it is a mind. Because of the mind, we know the sense organs are functioning. Since the sense organs are subtle and all pervasive, more pervasive, the mind which perceives, but the mind which acknowledges the presence of sense organs, the capability of perception. Therefore, it has to be more pervasive than the sense organs. The point here is, mind is more pervasive than the sense organs. Subtle sense organs, pancha jnana indriya. Even though it is more pervasive, mind cannot objectify sense organs. It can infer the presence of the sense organs because there is a perception of sight, there is a perception of hearing, perception of touch. From that only this infer. In fact, that is inference. It is mind infers. The perception of sense organ, the existence of sense organs, it's an inference. And what is sense organs perceives is pratyaksha. A subtle point here. Anyway, this is out of this. So anyway, the mind is more pervasive, vyapaka. Again, with reference to the mind, the intellect said to be superior. Manasastu para buddhihi. Because the buddhi is able to dismiss a doubt with the proper understanding. Therefore, buddhi is superior. Buddhi includes your will also. Doubting and vacillation. Pros and cons, that is samshayatmikam manaha. The mind doubts and vacillates. Whereas buddhi, whether buddhi determines, it is nishchayatmika buddhi. Once there is a resolve, which is buddhi, there is no more vacillation. You cannot say you have both resolve and vacillation at the same time. Only one thing at a time. Either your mind is vacillating or it is resolved. It has resolved the doubts, no doubts, clarity, determination, determined what a thing is, what an object is, or taken a decision. The decisive faculty of what a thing is or what to do also. But in doing also, some determination, some understanding based determination is required. That's what the buddhi does. So once the resolve is there, the vacillating mind, the doubting mind goes away. Therefore, buddhi is superior to the mind. And desire is destroyed by, next heading, recognizing you are limitless. The mind and the buddhi are the places wherein kama moves, adhishtanam. Kamas are located right here. The difference between the mind and the buddhi is only with reference to the type of vritti that takes place there. We have seen how the desire located in the mind can be so powerful that it can take the buddhi along with it. So even it can rob the buddhi of its understanding. Kama is so powerful. Therefore, in order to really deal with your desires, you have to step outside of them. Then you can see exactly where the kama is hiding. This is why Krishna went on to say that the one who is above buddhi is Atma, yourself. Yaha tu buddhehe parataha saha Atma. The one who is superior to buddhi is Atma, Paramatma. Is Atma, Paramatma. What Krishna meant here is that in order to take care of the kamas, you have to recognize yourself as the Paramatma. There is no other me. There is no other way. Aham Atma, Paramatma, Jagat Karanam Brahma. I am limitless, so I cannot be contained by any desires. Desire limits. Desire limits a person. So therefore one has to recognize oneself as Atma, Paramatma. Even though he is said to practice Dhamma and Shama, Tasmatam Indriyani Yadu, Niyamya Bharatarshava, he said, you also have to see that you are not the buddhi, the mind, or the senses. Then what are you? You are the Paramatma, Saha, Paramatma, Atma, limitless. That is Jnanam. Jnanam of oneself, one's Swarupa, Atma Jnanam. Once you are awake to this fact, then the enemy, the karma, is no more a problem. It cannot disturb you. Once you recognize yourself to be Atma, that is limitless, how can you become limited? How can karma limit you? Karma is limitation. Atma is limitless. It is therefore identification with karma makes you as though a limited person. Now, having recognized the Swarupa of oneself, Aham Atma Brahma Purnamiti, then what happens to the karma? Karma is no more a problem. You can deal with it drastically and finally. When you are free from any sense of limitation, karma itself is because of the sense of limitation. So when you are free from any sense of limitation, that is, you are free from karma, therefore there is no enemy. And the ones you have become harmless, more privileges in fact. Your mind is there and you have the privilege of desiring. Desiring is a privilege. Only when you don't need to fulfill any desire in order to be secure and happy. Lastly, the Krishna said, the next shloka, 43, the last shloka of this chapter. Let's read. Evam buddhe param buddhva. Let unmute and chant.
एवं एवं बुद्धे परं बुद्ध्वा
Samstabhyatmanamaatmana.
संस्थाप्यात्मानमात्मना
Jahi shatrum mahabhaho.
जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो
Kamarupam durasadam.
कामरूपं दुरासदम्
Evam, thus, buddhehe param buddha, that which is greater to the buddhi, that is Atma, samstabhya atmanam atmana. Atmanam atmana samstabhya. Atmana. Many atmas are that. Atmanam atmana. Atmanam atmana. Atmana is buddhi. Atmanam is mind. In fact, it's the same antakaranam only, playing the role of buddhi and the mind. But the buddhi is superior. Therefore, with the buddhi, atmanam, the mind, is samstabhya. Samstabhya. Samstabhya, studying the mind. The mind has to be steady, should not waver this and that, should not be dragged by the kama. Therefore, having made the mind steady with the buddhi or the knowledge of Atma, can be Atma, Yagishatrum, you destroy the enemy. What is the enemy? Kama. Kama Rupam Durasadam, the Kama which is Durasadam, which is very difficult to understand. So, O Arjuna, knowing that which is superior, knowing that which is superior to the intellect, what is that Atma? In this way, then having known the Atma, then having made the mind steady with the Buddhi, because the Buddhi now has the knowledge of Atma, clarity with regard to what oneself is. Therefore, make the mind steady. The mind alone is dragged by this Kama. Therefore, now Buddhi is informed. Therefore, you make the mind steady with this knowledge and destroy the enemy, which is in the form of Kama Rupam, form of desire, and it is Durasadam, difficult to comprehend. In the previous shloka, Krishna revealed a fact that which is above the buddhi, because of which the buddhi is illumined is the Paramatma. And because a mastered mind is required to know this Paramatma, Krishna concludes the chapter here by summing up what is to be done to destroy Kama. The senses and the mind are in the hands of the buddhi alone, because the buddhi is superior to them. Therefore, buddhi is their master. The buddhi meaning one's viveka. Buddhi is viveka jnana, buddhi. Studies the mind and the senses. Therefore, he said, Atmanam Atmana samstabhya, samyik stabhya. Study, making the mind. Atmanam Atmana, by the buddhi, Atmanam, the mind is made steady. Shatrum Jahi, kill the enemy. Here Krishna told Arjuna that he should destroy the enemy. Who is the enemy? The enemy is Kama. Not external enemies, it is internal enemy. That is in the form of desires. Kama Rupam, Shatrum Jahi. By knowing that which is about the buddhi, buddhehe param buddha, that is Atma. To destroy an enemy outside of oneself is relatively easy, especially for Arjuna, who had so many special missiles at his disposal. But to destroy this inner enemy, Kama, requires tact, maturity, dispassion, and understanding. So to indicate that Arjuna had these resources, Krishna addressed Arjuna as Mahabaho, O mighty armed. The enemy in the form of want is only an expression of ignorance. Ignorance being the mother of Kama and its brood, anger, jealousy, fear, and so on. All the other things are product of Kama. Therefore, to destroy the enemy, one must destroy its root, the Ajnanam, which can be done only through Jnanam, knowledge. Therefore, this enemy is said to be Durasadam. Durasada means difficult to understand, not easy. How Kama peeps in, develops, and swallows a person. Therefore, it would seem that desire should be very easy to understand since they just appear. But this is not the case, because every desire has a desire behind it. There is always a reason for liking something, and there's a reason for the reason. Therefore, why do you like it? Why do you have? Because I like it. The reason is Kama is the reason for liking it. But what is the reason for being the Kama to be? There is a reason. Therefore, that reason that is known to the person only. It is because of the samskara, what he had liking it developed from before. So therefore there is a reason for the reason. There is a desire for why the desire is. There is a desire for the desire behind a thing. So therefore, there is no end to the desires that are there, all of which is to be understood. Only when Kama makes you suffer by its presence, you are samsari, a sufferer. With knowledge, you can enjoy the presence of the Kama. Even if you are surprised by it, you can also be amused. You can either go with it or you need not go with it. When you step outside of your desires in this way, in terms of knowledge, all your desire becomes privilege for you. Thus, whether you are Karma Yogi or Sannyasi, there is no way of dealing with Kama except through Jnanam, only by Jnanam. Therefore, what better way for Krishna to have this point than to conclude the chapter entitled Karma with Jnanam, the only true conqueror of the enemy of desire. So, finally, the chapter ends. I think we will read this and the explanation of that in the next class. It's one more page is there. We'll stop here. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om Dhanyavadaha.